The JFK assassination, murder conspiracy, and cover-up conspiracy. Be advised that this movie depicts the violent murder of President Kennedy and shows color, close-up views of his wounds throughout. It is intended for a mature audience viewing. This is Daley Plaza, where President John F. Kennedy was assassinated on November 22, 1963. His limousine caravan entered the plaza on Main Street and proceeded north on Houston, just a short distance to Elm, where the group turned left. Rifle fire opened up shortly after the turn, and the president was hit in the back and the neck at the first X shown on the street. In less than 100 feet, the fatal headshot thrust the president back and to his left at the second X shown. Then the driver sped off to the hospital through the underpass. Abraham Zapruder, on a pedestal of the North Pergola, captured the assassination on his 8mm movie camera by panning left to right as the parade passed by. A safer route would have been the original route, with connectivity to the Stemmons Freeway over a 3-inch curb on the far side of the underpass. With proof of an assassination attempt set up in Chicago a few weeks earlier, the Secret Service criminally failed in the president's protection in Dallas on November 22, 1963. They put him on a slow route around Elm and pulled back his motorcycle escort and agents from the rear bumper stands, totally exposing him to fire from all angles, while allowing crowds on the overpass and open windows all around. Within seconds of the first shots, motorcycle officer Marion Baker raced to the book depository where he had heard the shots, dismounted, and ran into the building. This short film shows him running on the sidewalk toward the entrance.
There was a man that spoke up and said he was the building manager and he'd show me.
I realized that he didn't know the layout of the building, so I ran in with him. It was just a matter of seconds after the third shot, and we ran across the shipping room floor, stopped at the elevators.
And he said, well, we use the stairs. And he turned around and immediately went up the stairs.
We ran on up the first flight to the second floor, and the officer looked in the snack bar.
This man that you saw later turned out to be Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yes, sir, he did. I believe, excuse me, from the time that I heard those shots and time I ran into that building, entered the lobby, and made it up to the second floor, it was approximately a minute and a half to 2 minutes.
In the first half minute, Mark Bell's movie camera captured the limousine on the first stretch of Elm, and then again as it departed through the underpass with the fatally wounded president. When all parade cars cleared the scene, the crowd rushed the grassy knoll and the picket fence area. One can see from this film alone that the Warren Commission purposefully ignored strong evidence of a knoll shooter, as indicated by the rush of the on-site witnesses to the grassy knoll immediately following the shooting. Zapruder's published film of the assassination is shaky and hard to study, so John Costella, an Australian physicist, took the best of 3 films and produced the Costella combined edit. Here it is, showing at 18 frames a second. A thorough analysis of the film with comparison to other films and still frames taken that day shows conspiratorial editing and falsification of the murder scene evidence. The image of the freeway sign that hides the president as he is first shot was inserted into the film and not shot through Zapruder's camera. Jerky motions are present that infer frame removal, and frames of good clarity, which were shot while the limo slowed down, were removed to make the limo appear to move faster. But faster speed in nature produces more blur, as the object being photographed moves further during the fixed shutter time, creating more blur. So the forgerers forgot to speed blur all the frames taken at the lower speed, and end up showing one frame of impossibly good clarity for the fast speed appearance they achieved by removing other frames. It in fact proves the removal of frames. Inserting false information and removing interspersed frames is a process that is carefully done, showing intention, and not a random accident in the photo lab. Therefore, intentional falsification of evidence is the correct charge. Proof of these film alterations and alterations to other murder scene visual evidence is thoroughly covered in the Fetzer, Costello, White, and Lifton book, The Great Zapruder Film Hoax. Just under the right edge of the freeway sign is a man with an umbrella that he pumped while the limo passed. Let's watch again to see what happens. After the freeway sign, Connolly turns not to look for the shooter, but to track the umbrella man and take a quick look at Kennedy as the pole passes. The umbrella man may have been there as a signaler for a need for more shooting. The two agents turn and all eyes are on Kennedy as they pass the man and boy with the lady behind. Then they come abreast of Mary Mormon with the camera next to Gene Hill with the red coat. Connolly starts to turn around but is shot and falls directly backwards into his wife's arms while the agents face front. Then abruptly the driver turns around again, levels his weapon and shoots the president, and then turns back and speeds off while a glint of the murder weapon appears in the front seat. Another view of the murder by the driver is shown in the Nix film, taken from the other side of Elm, where the moving glint of the murder weapon at the center left edge of your screen is shown as the president is shot and the weapon is retrieved. This is repeated several times for your study. At the shot you can see a halo of blood spray around the president's head, and then when the gun is retrieved you see the reflection disappearing off the left of the screen.